Your mind was never meant to stay open all day, but for many people now, it does. From the moment you wake up, your attention begins receiving input. Messages, notifications, conversations, decisions, thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past. And most of the time, the mind never actually gets a moment where the input stops. It just keeps processing. And slowly something begins to happen inside the system. The mind becomes louder, not because something is wrong with you, but because your system hasn't had a chance to reset. When the system begins to overload, the signals usually appear in the body first. You may notice tightness in your chest or shoulders. Your breathing becomes heavier or faster. Your hands become slightly sweaty. Your mood starts shifting more easily than usual. Small things begin to irritate you. Your attention becomes harder to control. And at first, these signals seem unrelated to the mind. But they are often the first signs that the system has been processing input for too long without a reset. The body is reacting to the noise before the mind even realizes it. The mind is designed to process information, but it was never designed to process it continuously without pause. Throughout most of human history, moments of silence happened naturally. Walking outside, working with your hands, sitting quietly, looking at the environment around you. These moments created small resets in the system. They allowed the mind to close loops. They allowed the body to calm down. And they gave the brain a chance to stabilize before new input arrived. But today, those resets rarely happen automatically. Instead, the mind moves from one form of input directly into another. A conversation turns into a notification. A notification turns into scrolling. Scrolling turns into thinking. Thinking turns into planning. Planning turns into worrying. And before you realize it, the system has been open for hours without a break. When the system never resets, the mind begins to compensate. It tries to organize everything at once, every decision, every possibility, every unfinished thought. The brain starts scanning constantly, trying to maintain control over a system that has become overloaded. This is where mental noise begins to increase. Your thoughts move faster. Your attention jumps between things more easily. You start analyzing situations repeatedly. Sometimes you feel like you need to isolate yourself just to calm down again. Not because you dislike people, but because your system has reached its limit for input. And without a reset, the mind simply keeps pushing forward through the noise. Most people respond to this feeling by trying to push harder. They believe the solution is more discipline, more focus, more effort. But effort cannot stabilize a system that is not reset. When the mind is overloaded, pushing harder often makes the noise worse. Because the system is still open, still processing, still receiving input. What the mind actually needs in these moments is something much simpler. It needs space. When input stops, something interesting begins to happen. The breathing slows, the body begins to relax. Your attention moves away from the future and returns to the present moment. The system begins closing the loops that were left open, not through effort, but through silence. Even short moments of quiet can begin this process. Stepping outside, walking slowly, sitting for a few minutes without stimulation, allowing your attention to settle instead of forcing it forward. These moments create the reset that the system has been waiting for. Discipline is much easier when the system is stable. When your mind is quiet, decisions become clearer. Your attention stays where you place it. Your energy stops scattering across too many directions. And the next step becomes easier to take. But when the system never resets, everything feels heavier than it should. Even simple tasks can begin to feel overwhelming. Not because you lack discipline, but because your mind has been processing input for too long. A quiet mind rarely appears by thinking more. It usually appears when input finally stops, when the system resets, when attention returns to the present moment. Because the moment the noise settles, clarity has room to return.